Welcome back to the Mesozoic Media Park. Our goal is to make a park that is absolutely filled with all kinds of references to dinosaur movies, shows, documentaries, video games, you name it. Last time we did the Western film known as The Valley of Gwangi. This time I want to go back to Walking with Dinosaurs, but this time 2025's Walking with Dinosaurs. Let's get right into it. Okay, so Walking with Dinosaurs 2025. Now, what I wish to do is create an enclosure for my boy Sobek, because first of all, that's like my favorite episode in the show, and Spinosaurus kind of had a big week. Last week there was a brand new paper released that described a brand new species of Spinosaurus known as Spinosaurus mirabilis. And I think that it's kind of fitting to sort of celebrate that a little bit. So we can make a little bit of an enclosure that is kind of inspired by the Sobek episode of Walking with Dinosaurs. Now, what I want to do, I want this to mostly just be, on a different level down here. But I want to kind of just create a little bit of a river system. And then just, fill it in from there, I suppose. There's really nothing that's too eye-catching in the episode that I can place down that makes it stand out. So we'll just try our best to try to replicate it as much as we can. Now, first of all, the viewing is going to go like right here. There's only going to be like one small area where you're able to view old Spinosaurus. It'll go here. Because I don't know, I just kind of like when you have limited viewing for certain enclosures. It's like, yeah, we understand that our animals sometimes just need some privacy, they don't always want to be stared at. And we'll also get some rocks here, as we usually do. Place them in very carefully. Now here's my overall plan. Like I said, this little platform here is going to be your way of viewing. You're going to be able to go up to this corner. There's going to be railings over here and railings over here. And you'll be able to look into the whole enclosure. And the enclosure, I'm thinking, is going to be a little bit of a river system. Very similar to the river that we see in the actual episode. And, of course, we'll include Sobek's babies along with it. Because how could we not do something like that? That was like one of the highlights of the episode. Now, in order to keep like Sobek and the other the baby Spinosaurus away from the viewing people, because this is kind of low, we're going to include some rocks right here that kind of act as like a little bit of a barrier. And we'll also kind of create a little bit of a moat. Those moats are just like, they sound like good ideas for a dinosaur park. I've been reading Dinosaur Sanctuary a lot recently, and they always state that they have like moats for their larger creatures. And I'm like, that's a good idea. Makes it harder for like both the people to reach the dinosaurs, and makes it harder for the dinosaurs to reach the people, especially for a giant dinosaur like Spinosaurus. Okay, so that's the moat as well, and I kind of like how this is looking so far. I gotta fix that a little bit. And then we can place down our fences as well. We'll scale them up a little bit, like so. Then we'll try to put them all right here, like they're built into the rocks, basically. It adds some extra support, makes it kind of feel a little bit more natural, one of those natural looking enclosures. I don't know, I really like this method of trying to make it seem like a lot of these enclosures are simply just like built into the sides of, mountains or cliffs, things like that. Make them feel a little bit more natural. I don't know if that's realistically what looks best, but that's kind of cool looking right there. Especially if we dress this up with some vegetation, I'm sure it would overall look better. There we go. Now you can simply just be a human who's coming to see a Spinosaurus, and look in and probably not see anything. You'd have better luck over here, but, we don't want our guests to, try to climb into the enclosure. That is very strongly discouraged. Okay, so the rest of this is, of course, the Spinosaurus enclosure. What we can do is we can get some water in here from a waterfall, because who on earth does not like waterfalls? Like a small river that leads into a little bit of a pond over here. Okay, and so then the real trick is trying to make the rest of the enclosure look like the way that it does in Walking with Dinosaurs. Nice vegetation like this all over the place. Some good old classic root brittle dirt. Gotta love it. Right there. This can be like the little spot that Sobek had set up with his, with his little babies. There we go. That's not half bad, you know? I kind of like how it looks. And you, as a visitor, can simply just look into this enclosure and hopefully see Sobek with his babies. Again, you won't have nearly as much luck on this side, but maybe I'll just lower it. I'll lower it a little bit, try to make it so that you can see. Here we go. Can we see a little bit easier now? Let's try it. Yeah, you'll probably be able to see a Spinosaurus in there. Again, I just like the idea that a lot of this was built into rocks. I don't know, I just like when zoos kind of try to make their enclosures look as natural as possible. Okay, well, now let's get Sobek and his babies. Okay, here they are. We have Sobek and, of course, his children. All of the very adorable baby Spinosauruses. I really like the way that they look, too. Like with their really reduced proportions, that reduced sail especially. I think that that's always really cool to see. Because they're a little bit older, you can see that the sail's growing in a little bit, which implies that it was like almost completely reduced when they hatched, which is a fun little detail, you know? I quite like that. Yeah, here he is. Here's Sobek. I tried to give him as close to the colors as I possibly could. More of like a brownish coloration with some hints of yellow. Same with the babies, of course. You know, I just bred Sobek with a female that had like similar coloration. So we got like a bunch of babies that look similar like they do in the episode. It's so cute to see them all around. Sobek's gonna be like lying down. That's so cool. And it is very striking though to see the like early 2000s take on Spinosaurus when representing a take on Spinosaurus that is a lot more modern, a lot more up to date with our current understanding of the animal. So it's kind of, what the fudge are you doing? What was that? Did you see that, dude? Did you see what he did? It was weird. Yeah, I kind of like how the enclosure turned out. I like the addition of the waterfall, even though, per my memory, there was no waterfall in the episode. But the presence of the river is certainly nice. This is like the river that they were walking alongside for a good portion of the episode. And yeah, I think it's pretty good. Let's see what this looks like from the actual viewing spots that I have provided. And these iguanodons are loud, man. They've just been sounding off this whole time. It's been crazy. Okay, let's see how it looks from up here. Oh yeah, you can certainly see them, kind of. You have to like look at a certain angle. I might have to lower them a little bit, lower the fences, but that's pretty cool. That's honestly pretty cool. This looks like it would be a legitimate way to view these animals, you know, at a distance with a moat in between you, but that moat's not visible to you, which I think is kind of cool. Probably see some of them over here. Now, well, you could if they were in the right spot, but right now it's like the best spot is right here. That's cool though. I like how it turned out. I think it's a nice, cool enclosure, and it's like a nice celebration of the release of the new paper of the brand new species of Spinosaurus. He just like called them all to like fall in right behind him. Look at them. They're all watching their father. Oh yeah, follow him. Yeah, I did get 4 of them because I believe there was actually 4 in the beginning of the episode. That's pretty cool though. That's pretty cool. I'm happy with it. So yeah, that's pretty much all we have for this episode. Tune in next week for another addition to the Mesozoic Media Park. I'm not too sure what we're gonna do yet, but I do have a few ideas. And we're filling this in quite nicely. We still have all the way up until over here. Like this corner right here. Let's just look at the map. We got all of this. Wow, we have a decent amount of space. Some space over here, but I want to save some of this just in case they add a mammoth. Because I want Martha. They're probably not gonna. I don't know if they'll ever add like Cenozoic mammals to the game. They'll add Cenozoic sharks, but they won't add Cenozoic mammals. We'll see. We'll see. Time will tell. But just in case, I want to keep this area free. So we got like this huge space over here. We got this space over here. And then we got all of this space over here. But this is where I breed all of the dinosaurs whenever I need like juvenile dinosaurs as a reference to a specific thing. Like, of course, the Land Before Time cast, or in this case, Sobek's children here. So yeah, we got space. We got some space. So hopefully we can cram way more references into this park so that it's like a huge, glorious park that is just jam-packed with all kinds of references to different pieces of paleo media. But that's pretty much all I have for this one. Thank you guys so much for watching, and have an awesome day.